I'm Dylan, and this is the BlindSighted Perspective Podcast, where blind and sighted perspectives are given on a number of topics, with my friend Jared as a co-host in a casual style. My life since I went blind at 22, I will tell you about it. Welcome back to the BlindSighted Perspective Podcast. Today's episode is episode 11. And if there's any cat noise in the background or whatever or anything, I apologize just to get that out of the way. But we have a slight announcement that I think we talked about in like maybe one of the past like one or two episodes, and that is we will be, coming up with a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel will be called The BlindSighted Perspective. The podcast thing name won't be on it, but as I said, we're going to be uploading our podcasts on there, and once we get up to date with all the podcasts, we're going to start uploading other videos that are actual videos, whatever ideas we can come up with, and it'll be fun and great. So for now, like it isn't ready yet, but just stay tuned for that. But yeah. Anyways, Jared, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Dylan, and I want to piggyback what you just said. So we're going to be putting episode 0 through now, and then our futuristic ones on YouTube. So if you've been watching this on YouTube and you're hearing about this now, that's why. Is because now this episode we don't have YouTube, but we will throw the older ones on YouTube. So that's
very true, because this episode won't go up until April 13th. So I imagine we would have the channel up by then.
Yes.
Okay, well, in that case then, by the time this episode goes up, the YouTube channel should be up. So that is the BlindSighted Perspective on YouTube. I hope nothing happens to where I'm a liar at this. But anyways, how you doing, Jared?
Oh, I'm doing good. Had my jujitsu today. Other than that, I'm gonna after we're done here, head home and prepare Ace's birthday party. So.
Oh yes. Well, speaking of birthday parties, because this goes well. Ghost stories for our blindsided stories, because that matches a little kid's birthday party, right? But for those who don't know, who are new, the blindsided stories are stories that I have from being blind or being sighted, or it's a story that me and Jared share, or Jared has a story. So yeah, like we said, today's blindsided story is ghost stories. Who wants to go first here?
Oh, pick me.
You want to go first, Jared?
Actually, no, go ahead with yours.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is one's like a two-parter, but the first one is very weird. So I was basically I was staying the night at Jerry's house, and were you ever at his house?
No, I know he's been a couple places, but the house in
Ellick.
Yes.
Have you been in his room?
Yes. Okay, so I do think I've been in that house that you will describe.
Yes, you have to go upstairs to get to the bedroom.
Yep, that's the one.
So I went there, spending the night, and Jerry was texting this girl, and he basically snuck out. I stayed home because I stayed at the house just because he didn't want his parents to know. And he snuck out to go meet this girl at, I don't even remember what time it was. It was night. That's all I know. Maybe 10 or later. Probably maybe more like midnight. But it was really late. And so he left, and I was all by myself there, and the lights were off. It was dark, and I was just sitting there. And I will tell you, at this point in time, I didn't believe in ghosts. But what happened while I was just sitting there, doing nothing, I felt all of a sudden a pressure go around my neck, around my throat, like someone was grabbing my throat. I felt this pressure, and I was scared out of my mind. I was scared out of my life. because again, I never believed in ghosts, but I had this pressure and nothing was there. My friend wasn't there. Nothing was there. Just this pressure, this grip that grabbed my throat. And I was very, very scared. And I told him about it when he got back. And I think he told me that room or the house was haunted a little bit. But another thing that happened, and this was years later, we were just, I was hanging out in his room, and we were just sitting in these, like, chairs. You know those chair things he had? I don't remember what they're called.
What kind of chairs are they?
They sit on the floor.
Beanbag?
No, they were made of plastic.
I'm not familiar with them.
But we were just sitting here. I don't know if we were just talking or playing a video game. That there was something on top of his dresser, and it just straight up like fell off for no reason. We weren't moving.
Was a window open?
No. It just all of a sudden, like someone just knocked it off.
Maybe a fan was on?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We were just sitting there, not moving, nothing happening, and all of a sudden it just went doom and just like fell off the thing, and I remember I think what he said, he's like, well then, and so that's another kind of ghostly thing. It could have been a ghost because I don't see what else it could have been, because it just got straight knocked off like someone knocked it off. And so with those two incidents, I do feel like his house was a little haunted, and that made me believe in ghosts. Because, if you have something that's not there gripping your throat, that would make you believe a little bit, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
But yeah, so that's kind of my kind of ghost stories with that. And they were both in Jerry's house. And I haven't had any other incidents, though, anywhere else other than with Jerry. Maybe he's the one who's cursed or something. I don't know.
I hope not.
Maybe he's haunted.
The ghost is getting jealous of his friends.
I don't know, but so what is your ghost story?
So it doesn't have to do with me. I do have ghost stories that have to do with me, but this one,
I want it to have to do with you.
Well, it has to do with my mom. How about this? Mine's a two-parter.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so I'll tell you the good one, then I'll tell you the one.
Here we come.
I'll tell you the one with my mom, and then the one with me.
Okay.
So now again, in this situation, I was not there. This is all from my mom and her friend, and a picture they had showed us. My mom had a group of friends, and they would love to go to the graveyard and take pictures at night. And she has the box full of floppy disks that some of them work now, some of them don't. I mean, I don't even have a computer to, use a floppy disk. But her and her friend had went out to this graveyard, and I don't remember.
Jared, what's a floppy disk for our young viewers?
I was hoping you would ask, Dylan. It's like a square piece of plastic. It's hard to explain because I don't use it. It's a square piece of plastic. It works like a CD, except it's like the CD's grandparents. You put it in there, and just Google it. Google it.
Google is your friend, young ones.
So they had went to a graveyard, and now I think if you know what I'm talking about, Dylan, it was the one behind Frisch's Big Boy.
I don't, but
okay.
I'll take your word for it.
So they had went out there and they were snapping pictures. Well, I guess they had said as they were snapping pictures in the middle of the night, probably 1 or 2 in the morning maybe, a deer had come up pretty close to them. And they're like, oh, at first they're like, what is it? Oh, it's just a deer. Okay, cool. And it's like, her friend had mentioned that deer is really close. I'm surprised it's not scared of us, because my mom would take pictures with the flash on. So it would flash.
Right, I feel like I've heard you tell this before.
I had told you this before a long time ago.
Like, I only remember like little bits of it now that you're telling me. It's like filling in.
So they thought this was the coolest thing. This deer is so close to them. These flashes from the camera aren't scaring it. It's not moving. It runs up and just stays there. So my mom's like, oh, that's really strange, but that's really neat. And she starts taking pictures of it, right? And so her friend's like, I'm going to try to get close. My mom's like, it's a wild animal. It can do anything. Yeah. It's not a good idea.
Probably
her friend
shouldn't.
was so intrigued about it. So her friend's walking up to this deer, and she gets pretty close. And then her friend loses her air. I guess she had fallen down because she was just having a hard time breathing. And so my mom's like, oh, she's trying to shoo this deer away. And before this had happened, I had mentioned she was taking pictures of this deer.
Right.
So after this, my mom's like, trying to get this deer away because she wants to go pick her friend up, but she doesn't want this deer coming over and trying to bite him or attack him or whatever. So finally, this deer just runs off. And so she goes to her friend, picks her up. And my mom, I believe in ghosts. My mom believes in ghosts. So she's like thinking this is some kind of like maybe it's a spirit, attack or something from a ghost. So she takes her friend, and her friend is able to walk. It wasn't extremely bad, but they go back to the car, and she's like, her friend explained, I don't know why, I was fine. And then she kind of, the way she explained it, it was similar to what you said, more of like a choking kind of feel, but she just lost her air.
Right. Like mine wasn't a choking thing. I wasn't choked, but it did feel like basically like someone has their hand over your throat, but they didn't squeeze it. It was like this just a firm kind of thing, but like it wasn't squeezing. It just like someone had their hand on my throat. That was it.
But and so after they get in the car, they leave. They're like, oh, that was really strange, and so they go, and it's a digital camera they have, so they're able to take the pictures
and see them,
and then go back through them.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older one, so when you take the pictures, she was looking through, it still had the little glass piece you can look through. She wasn't paying attention to the screen at all when she was taking these, just pointing and shooting.
Right.
So they had went over, she had snapped like 5 pictures of this deer. And when in the car, they had parked, and they had went over the pictures. And in these 5 pictures, there was no deer at all. Instead, there was like I don't know if anyone who's listening is familiar with what an orb is. But ghost hunters, I guess, will take pictures and get all these. It looks like dust in the lens.
I know what you're talking about. Actually, I'm going to interject here for a second because this was before I still believed in ghosts, and I thought you and Jerry were full of crap. I don't know if you remember when I was skateboarding outside, and you two were spending the night. I don't know if you remember this, and you guys were taking pictures of me skateboarding, for whatever reason. And I remember seeing on the camera there were these orbs in the background, and you guys were telling me I think that they were ghosts, and I was like, that's baloney. But I do remember all those orbs, and it is very weird that you see all these orbs.
And the thing is, you'll hear a lot.
And it was at night. It was probably at like midnight or something.
You'll hear a lot of, oh, that's just dust on the lens. Well, after you hear that, you clean off your lens and you snap another picture, you get the same effect. I mean, you know what? And now these orbs aren't in the same place. But if you really clean this lens and you take another picture, it's not dust. But that's my opinion.
But I have seen them because of you guys, because we were out at like midnight. You guys were taking pictures of me skateboarding, and then I saw it, and then I was like, "What are those?" And you guys told me, so I do know what they are. They look like dust balls. Yeah, they're like white, if I remember right.
Yeah, some of them are different colors. I know I've seen ones that were orange. The only ones that stand out that I've seen through my mom's pictures are orange, green, and white.
I think the only ones that were in those pictures were white.
So they go over this, and the only thing where the deer was supposed to have been was an orb, right? Now it wasn't like the small ones you see. It was a pretty bigger orb in the picture.
Oh, really?
But my mom had snapped the 5 pictures, looked at this camera. There was no deer, and they were really close to this deer. They should have gotten the picture of the deer. It was in the middle of the camera.
Yeah.
So that was that story, and then she would come back, and I remember I was younger.
I wonder if she was drunk.
Well, she was driving. I mean, she was able to get home, and plus my mom doesn't drink.
Oh. Okay.
But and then I remember her coming home later that night. Her and her friend were telling my dad about it, and and so that was that story. And then they had showed us the pictures, and of course, I had seen the orb. And she was describing where the deer should have been, but I didn't see a deer. So, again, this was not, other than the pictures and what she'd said.
Now, what about you?
There.
You told me you were starting to talk about something about with your house you're currently buying.
Okay.
You talked about it last episode.
Okay. Okay, I remember that one.
That's what you promised the people.
When we were moving into the house that I currently bought, me and Chelsea, our kids were with her parents, and we were going through the rooms and stuff like that. Just checking it out, deciding where we want things.
Okay, yeah.
And so we were in one of the back rooms, and we could have swore we heard a growl.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are no dogs. I mean, it could have been, I thought it could have been something under the house, but we looked under the house, nothing was there.
Oh.
And none of the neighbors really have dogs. I mean, and it sounded like it was coming from inside the room. So
yeah,
that was that. We only heard it. Oh, actually, I lied. So that's not the only experience we've had in that house. Me and Chelsea have woken up because we have 2 kids, and we'd wake up several times. I've woken up in the night thinking one of the kids had broke down the gate and had been running across the hallway.
Yeah.
Because there had been several times I'd waken up to hear footsteps running through the hallway, and I'll get up and look, and both my kids are passed out.
Oh, dear.
I'm like, where is that noise coming from? It's gotten to the point, now it doesn't happen every night, but it happens quite a bit. It's gotten to the point I wake up, and if I hear something like that, I'll check on the kids if they're asleep. I'll say, keep it down out there. Keep it down, ghost. And I'll go back to bed because that's all it is. I mean, it's not like anything's moving or this or that. Right. It's just these noises. And then
you picked the wrong house.
Yeah, well, I mean, nothing's done to me like what it's done to you. So, I mean, I could live with the noises. It's annoying. Maybe, and I don't know. Maybe it's, we've heard footsteps, banging against the wall, stuff like that. And the first couple of nights after I realized it wasn't the kids, I thought maybe someone's trying to break in. And so I'll go look around, nothing. We even have cameras, and nothing's on the cameras.
Right.
So we have cameras on the outside of the house, not the inside of the house. Right. But we had seen from these cameras no one was there.
I mean, well, yeah, it's odd, but, well, hopefully we didn't scare people too much.
I mean, and the thing is, you can probably think of reasons why there wasn't a deer there when there should have been. Or maybe, the noises in the house is... air flowing through the house, or it's not an older house, so I can't say because it's an old house.
Yeah, or I don't know, maybe with me, I don't know, maybe it was real late and I was tired. I don't know.
Maybe it was.
I don't know. I don't really know how
when you get tired, you tend to,
feel
not
like
breathe.
Feel like someone's. Well, I could breathe fine. Like I said, it was just someone light. It was just like a pressure on my throat, but like not tight.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were really gripping hard or anything. But, I mean, people will be fine. It'd be fine. Anyways, so that has been the BlindSighted stories. And so, by the way, here's a bonus since we're talking about scary stuff. Not story-wise, but something I just want to ask Jared. So, how do you work with your kids with Halloween?
Right.
Actually, you know what? We can save that for the question. I'll add that into the question at the end. Sorry, I just realized.
I forgive you.
But I just realized it fit better there. Anyways, so next we will move on to the BlindSighted the blind hat poll. And so, Jared, the blind hat. Oh God, the BlindSighted. No, the blind hat poll. Good Lord, the blind hat poll is where Jared will pull out numbers in a hat and then see what number corresponds with the topic that we talk about. And we do 2 per episode. So, Jared, what is our first topic?
As everybody who makes videos and audios like to say, without further ado, let me give you some ASMR for a second.
So you say that like every episode almost now.
No, not us. I just videos.
I know.
All right, they're all good and mixed up now.
Oh my gosh.
Let me pull from that.
Maybe. Okay.
Dylan talked. He messed it up. I gotta shake it again.
I'm sorry, listeners.
All right, we got 13. And 13 is, how much would you spend on a pair of shoes?
What?
That's what we wrote down.
How much would you spend on a pair of shoes?
Now, actually, that's a good question for the general public because I have friends that spend over $200 on shoes. Man, like what makes this podcast great? Even we forget what we've put down on this stuff, and you get quality topics that no one else is going to talk about. We are the man of the people, and we talk about we talk about the topics that really matter. The really mattering topics.
Okay, Jared, how much would you spend on a pair of shoes?
The most I've ever spent on a pair of shoes, which is a little out of my budget, is $80.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. But I have friends, I have a pretty good job where I'm at, and I have friends who aren't as fortunate, but they find a way to get the money to buy like $300 pair of shoes.
Those
$300 pair of shoes.
$300. Those shoes better make you fly.
Oh my God! They walk on water or something. I mean, it's crazy. Now, yes, it's more strictly because of fashion and stuff. But I would rather look like
slap a brand on it and add $100.
Slap a good brand on it, and you can add quite a bit. But But yeah, I would never, now if it's working shoes like boots, for example, working boots, I would probably never go over 100. So, but 100's probably the max I would ever spend on shoes.
Probably the max for me that I would spend on shoes is like maybe 60. Maybe 60, preferably 50. Unless I like really like the shoes or something, which I guess wouldn't really happen now because I'm blind, so I can't really see the shoe. So that like the last pair of shoes I bought, I've had for like the past 5 years, and I think they cost me like $50 or $60. So they were DC, some DC shoes, because I used to buy a lot of skateboarding shoes. But now if I were to go buy another pair of shoes, I'd probably do like 30 or 40, since I don't care how they look mostly, you know. It doesn't matter to me now. It's just comfort. As long as they're comfy, I don't care. So now it'd probably be like 30 or 40. Back then, probably 50 or 60. What's your favorite kind of shoes to wear? I'll add in a bonus since this is short.
I really don't have a favorite kind of shoe. Now, the shoes that I have the most of, and I only have, let me see, 3 pairs of shoes. One of them's boots, not shoes. So I've worked, boots, and then the other 2 shoes are Nikes. So I tend to always buy Nike.
Yeah.
But it's not intentional. I'm not like, ooh, I gotta have this Nike brand. You know what I mean? It's just, it's what I see. I like it. I feel it on. It's comfortable, so I get it for a cheaper price.
But like, you wouldn't say that's your favorite shoes?
I wouldn't say I have one.
Or are they decent and just nicely priced?
Decent and they can be nicely priced. Now, I'm sure as of now, moving forward, I would probably just get like a Walmart brand.
Yeah.
Because it's really not that important.
Yeah, it's not.
As long as it works and it can go through like if you can jog in it,
right,
then that's fine.
Like I didn't wear that many different kinds of shoes. Like I'll be honest, I used to not be able to tie my shoes. So I had to use like strap shoes.
Yeah, I don't think anyone used. There was a point everyone didn't used to be able to tie their shoes.
Well, I couldn't for a very long time.
You don't want to give the details, do you?
Well, I don't actually remember when. Like legitimately, I don't remember when, but I know it was longer than probably a lot of kids. But my thing was I would just get any old thing. But when I started skateboarding, and I started getting into the skateboarding shoes and stuff, and two brands that I have wore were Converse, and I actually got like this is a memory that I have. I think it was in Shoe Carnival, and I had like money, or I had some money from Christmas or something. I don't remember exactly. And there were these do you know what Converse shoes are?
Yes, I do believe so.
They were skateboarding Converse shoes, and they were red. They like the bottom were like blood red with like the black star on the bottom of the shoe. They were really cool, and these were $60 shoes, and I got them for $20.
Nice.
Steal. It was like they were on clearance or whatever, and then also like I got some deals, and I just remember them, and I wore those for a while, and they were cool. But ultimately, I really liked DC. DC skateboarding shoes. Like I've had a couple pairs of those, and I like them. Like I said, I probably would just do the Walmart thing, like you said, as long as they were comfy for me, because I don't wear my shoes that often. So I mean, as long as they were comfy, I guess that's fine. And so Walmart probably would be my thing. But yeah, I just had to ask that bonus question to extend this. How much would you pay for shoes? And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, how much would you spend on shoes? See, now this is the great thing, because like no one's really using our email, but it'll be easier for people to, comment back on the YouTube videos. I can actually ask you, how much would you, I could ask you the question. So that's very, very cool. Okay, Jared, time to pull the next topic.
All right.
That sound effect makes me sounds like when someone's typing in Messenger on Facebook. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, so Let me pull another number real quick.
Why?
We don't have a 35.
We don't?
No.
We did. Listen, turn the page or something. Look at another page. We came up with these topics, dude.
You know what? We do have a 35. I just had to turn the page.
Oh, my dear God.
All right, so.
I'm about to say, dude. I know. We went through those.
All right. What instruments have you played?
Okay.
This is band, outside of band. Stuff.
You want to go first?
Sure. There have been a couple instruments I've played. When I was younger, about 4th and 5th grade, I had played the clarinet like Squidward tentacles. I sounded just like Squidward tentacles.
Oh, no.
But I enjoyed it. You know, it wasn't... I thought it was super cool during the time. Oh, this is so fancy. You know
I'll get into I have the same feeling for that with something.
And if I can play this, it's super. People are gonna think I'm smart. There's so many holes I can cover to make these beautiful noises.
You really tried to have people like you and stuff when you were a kid.
Ouch.
And younger. No, I mean,
Dylan, I didn't have to try.
Just based on what you've said, you always were planning and that'll make people like me. Oh, that'll make me seem cool.
So I'm not saying this to be defensive. I'm saying this because it's the truth. I was just joking when I said I thought it would make me seem smart.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to add on, kind of make it funny. So seriously though,
I
did think it was cool.
Did you do a lot of things to make yourself seem cooler?
Not really, only because I didn't have to. And now I was nicer to people.
You can be honest.
Oh, I'm being honest.
We all have. Everybody wants to be cool.
Oh, of course. But nothing sticks out that I had went out of my way to do to get attention.
Oh yeah, except for trading stuff to make a girl like you.
Except for that. But
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. That was more. Anyway, we'll get back to that. That's something we could talk about there. What instrument? So clarinet. You threw me off, Dylan.
Oh, my bad. The psyche of Jared.
So the clarinet, and then I also had played the trombone when I was in, I believe, 7th and 8th grade.
Did you get a tromboner?
I did not, Dylan. I did not. But it was, it was fun and cool, I guess, but honestly I kind of liked the clarinet better.
Oh yeah.
So
I remember Dylan, Dylan G.
Right.
Dylan G, man, he played the clarinet.
Yes.
He played a big clarinet, actually.
I know it wasn't called a clarinet, it was
it was a bass clarinet, I think.
Maybe it was called a clarinet. I can't remember.
Yeah, he told me it was a clarinet, I think.
Oh, you're probably right. I thought it was
actually looked
else.
very similar to a saxophone, but it wasn't quite.
Yes, that's right. So I'll tell you guys a funny story real quick. Let me put it in place real quick, step by step in my head.
Just give him a minute. He's processing.
So one thing that people in band would do, and I never understood it, is you would play these instruments, especially trombone. I think it happens with trumpets. I'm not sure though, but I can definitely say it happens with trombone. Is after you've played it for a minute, if you take it apart, you dump all of this. It's spit is what it is. You dump it out. And so they would all do this, and I'm like, that's disgusting. They're like, oh, it's just condensation. That was what everybody said.
Condensation.
I'm like, so you give it another, you call it something else, and that makes it okay. It
I
still
mean, maybe
came
it
from
really
your
was
mouth.
condensation. I don't know.
It's from your body. It's spit.
How do you know?
Because it's from your mouth.
Did you go and test it?
No, well,
Did you take it to a lab and yep, that's saliva?
No, but it came from your mouth, which is the same part spit comes from. So it's spit.
You don't know if that's where it comes from. I never put spit into my saxophone.
I mean, I guess you kind of you blow out your lungs, so I don't know if your lungs perform some kind of liquid or not. But If they do, it's still from your body and it's disgusting.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That was my point on it, but everybody's like, I can't. There was something that I think someone had dumped it and some had gotten my shoe or something.
Oh,
and that's
no.
That's
it
what.
burns.
I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. And they're like, oh, it's just condensation. I'm like, oh, calling it condensation makes it a whole lot better. Just dump some more on my shoe, please. No, but yeah, so I don't understand that. Other than that, I have never taken piano classes, but I would mess with the piano and I like doing that. Learn songs on YouTube, stuff like that. And then Dylan at one point had showed me how to basically basics, play the guitar, notes, stuff like that. But all that knowledge is long gone out the window.
Yeah. Just like my first electric guitar. Jared.
Yeah. Hey, Christmas is coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Just to let you people know, I loaned Jared my first electric guitar, and it was my first guitar that I played him. I loaned it to him, let's see, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, and he never returned it to me.
Yeah, I think that's still under at my parents' house under the stairs, and I still have been meaning to go look for that.
It's dead to me. It's fine. I don't need it.
Do you take monthly payments?
Yes, I do. It was around like $100 and something.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
So it's pretty cheap. Yep. Yeah.
All right, so
I don't take checks.
Oh, cash it.
Cash only.
Cash it is. So, Dylan, enough about me, more about you.
Okay, well, I have played several instruments, and well, except for one of them, I didn't really learn how to play it, but I tried to. So like Jared, in sixth grade, we had like a band, and I thought playing the saxophone was the coolest thing ever. I thought it looked cool. I thought it was amazing. So I got a tenor saxophone. People will see this in due time if like the YouTube video stuff comes true. But I am a very short and not big person. I am 5'4", and I had this giant tenor saxophone. And actually, this is also how I met Jerry and how we ended up becoming like best friends once upon a time. And it's because me and him were the only two tenor saxophone players. Everyone else had these little alto saxophones because they're like really little and
noobs.
And I was like the manly man.
The manly man of the saxophones.
Yes. And it wasn't. And then I did it for like a few weeks, like maybe like 3 weeks. And my dad, I think, paid like his friend $500 for the saxophone. So I felt bad about this, but I had it for like 4 weeks. And it wasn't like I thought it was going to be, so it wasn't as cool. And then also I had to lug this thing in a case around like every single day, and I got sick of it. I do want to say, though, it did have magic. Because for some reason...
when you would blow into it, this
No,
out.
Because for some reason, whenever I would have it and bring it with me, and I would go onto the bus, and I would have to keep it in the seat with me. And then for some reason, I'd always have an attractive girl sit with me. They'd be forced to sit with me.
They would be forced?
Not forced. What I mean is, like, there wouldn't be any other spots. And for some reason, it always happened when I had this saxophone with me.
Hey, did you say, hey, I play the masculine saxophone?
I don't know why, but it always happened. That's one thing I noticed. It had magical powers that had attractive girls sit with me. I don't know why.
Is that why you gave it up?
No.
You just got too nervous?
No,
Things got too awkward?
But I did eventually quit band. Jerry was mad because then he was the only tenor saxophone player in the thing. So it's very interesting. And then at some point, I don't remember what his name is, your band teacher in like high school. I don't remember what his name is.
Me neither.
I ended up selling my tenor saxophone for like $50 to him.
Okay.
I think we should have got more, but that's all he offered. All he offered me, and I only took cash.
Now he's gonna have the hot girl sit next to him.
But yeah, because like I wasn't doing anything with it, and then the next instrument I portrayed, I already talked about, was I wanted to play guitar, and we were in like a Myers, and there was an electric guitar for around like, I don't know, $120 or something. We got a good sale on it, or a good deal. And so I bought that, and electric's kind of, some people would probably say it probably might be better to have electric because the strings aren't as hard, so they won't hurt your fingers. So I had an electric guitar first, and then learned a little bit with that. Then eventually later I got this black acoustic guitar. It was like $50, and it was really cheap, and it was a good guitar.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I still have it. It's actually in this room right now. You can probably see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's right there behind the desk. Cool.
Yep. That was my first acoustic guitar, and it was it was only $50. It was really cheap, and it sounded great. So we had that, and then eventually I upgraded to a very expensive electric acoustic guitar. It was I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was a Seagull, like Entourage, like something cutaway, and it was like $550, and I still have that, of course. It's very expensive, but it's a very nice guitar. And $550 might not seem that expensive for a guitar. Some are like a lot more expensive, but to us average Joes, that's a lot of money for a guitar. But it's really nice. I don't play guitar anymore, but I did play a little bit. I didn't get super great. I was okay. I could do some bar chords. I could do some different things, but I was okay. What did you think how I was at guitar?
I think you were getting to the point where you were better than average just because you put so much time into it.
Oh yeah, my bleeding fingers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought you had bought those guitar strings red. No, but you were on it and you were able to play
I am
these
not
good
kidding though. My
songs
fingers were destroyed because the acoustic strings were just so much thicker. It just, I don't know. Some people are like, well, why'd you stop playing? And it's like, I just did. I lost interest, and also I was tired of my fingers hurting to play. And I know people are like, well, you just build calluses over your fingers so it doesn't hurt. But it's also like, yeah, but
or
now,
a pick.
Also, now, well, no, I'm talking about when you use your left hand to hold down chords. See, because you press in, and yeah, that's what hurt my fingers. I didn't like care about the finger thing. The thing didn't hurt my thumb, but also like me being blind, I kind of don't want my tips of my fingers, which is what I use to touch with a lot, having calluses blocking my sense of touch a little bit. So there's that. Then we will move to the next thing that I still play to this day, which is piano. And we've already kind of talked about piano a little bit, but I had always liked piano, but I never had one myself. And so eventually I actually bought it was a digital piano or electric piano. It was a Yamaha P105 electric piano. It had like 14 different sounds in the piano, and it was nice, and it cost $600, but I got it for a deal. I got it for $500 because it was a demo model, and I was like, I'll take $100 off for a demo model. That's fine. And it lasted me 6 years. It still wasn't broken. I ended up giving it away to some people because I got a new one. I got an updated one. I got the Yamaha P125, which has a lot more new voices, a lot better like action, and so many other cool things. And I did pay $600 for that. So I still play piano and I like it. I'm on and off about it, honestly, and I just want to have fun with it. I do struggle a little bit because I used to learn songs by sheet music a little bit, and I can't really learn songs very well through ear, so I'm hoping to fix that one day, but I do it just for fun. So now, next, the last thing that I messed with is violin. I had a violin, and it was like $100, and I tried to learn, and it didn't go very well, and now I'm blind, and I tried to learn it, and violin to me is probably the most difficult instrument. Because, Jared, you know how on the guitar frets, like you have those bars making the squares?
Yes.
So you know where to put your fingers. On a violin, you don't. You don't have that. You don't have, like, you have to kind of guess and learn to where exactly to put your finger to get a note.
How did you do, Dylan?
I didn't really get very far, but now, and also there are 4 strings, and the one thing that was really difficult is the bow. You have to put this stuff called rosin on the bow of the violin, and I had really difficulties getting that stuff on it, and so it made trying to practice very difficult. And then you have to learn how to hold the bow properly, make sure the bow is not like too tight or too loose, and then you have to like do a motion with it up and down the strings, because I don't know if you know this, Jared, but on a violin the strings aren't all flat.
I didn't know that.
Basically, so you can hit strings like separately with the bow. You like they're like there's one, and then there's one above that one, and then maybe like one, and then it like goes down because there's 4. So you have to do it in like this arch kind of bowing motion to hit the strings that you want. And then also there's holding the violin on your collarbone, and you have to like, hold that and get it properly. Like there's so much to violin. Could you tell?
Huh? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I know it's crazy.
There was so much, but I still wanted to play, but I just couldn't get things to work with the bow and the rosin, because you need the rosin on the bow to make a good smooth sound. And so I just kind of dropped it and didn't go back to it. And then I went blind, and then now it's kind of like, well, this will be doubly difficult with if I try to learn now, but maybe I will in the future. But yes, those are the 4 instruments I've played and messed with, and so I've messed with a few. Jared?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we
do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, that was it. We covered it.
Yeah, I had a lot to go through.
Yeah, you probably played way more than I've tried. Yeah, I've attempted.
Yeah,
I played the recorder once.
But I mean, yeah, but sorry if that dragged on a long time. I did play a lot of instruments, so sorry if I bored anyone. But
that's okay, I forgive you.
With that has been the blind hat pull, and now we will go into the blindsided question. The blindsided question is basically where like you guys can send questions to our email, tbspp@yahoo.com, subject BQ for blind question, or subject SQ for sighted question, which means that could be pretty much anything. And then if you want your name read, put it in the email. And in this, kind of also, if you're seeing this on YouTube, put comments for blind or sighted questions that you want, and then we might, if you want your name read in those comments, let us know. But yeah, because we can do the YouTube thing now and get comments and blind questions from that. But today's question, Jared, is a sighted question. And it is for Jared, because we like to involve him sometimes. And the question,
feeling lonely,
pretty much is, what is it like having kids? And also, like, you're like what, 24?
Yes, I am 24.
And you've had kids for like 3 years now. So you've probably, when you were like 22, had your first kid, right? Or 21 even.
Yeah. Actually, I can't remember how old I was. I mean, 3 years from now, yeah, I would be 21.
You told me Ace is about 3, so minus that, 21.
Right. So
what's it like being young and having kids and
man.
everything?
You see, so
the floor is yours.
This is a question for, half the population has kids, the other half no, or those statistics probably aren't that accurate. A lot of people have kids, though. A lot of people have kids.
You don't say.
So this is more for people without kids who are thinking of it or whatever. Having kids, it's really, it's a lot of work. And when they say, I had seen things like on Facebook, get ready to give up sleep.
I've seen some things.
I've seen them, boy. I've seen them. Get ready to give up sleep. Like, that's no joke. Like, you get ready to sacrifice your slumber. If you don't sleep that long anyway, well, there you go. There's a bonus for you. But they're very high maintenance But you know what? It is worth it because I love them, and it's your responsibility. If you have kids, it's your responsibility.
You
to
make
take care of
them, you gotta shape them.
So no matter how hard it is, or how hard it gets, or how much of a mental battle it is, like, and it, I sound like you're about to attack an enemy right now. That's not the case.
Not to mention, if you don't take care of them, you are legally responsible and can go to prison. That might be an extra little thing,
but it shouldn't even have to resort to that.
No,
it
shouldn't.
Kids,
it shouldn't.
Morally,
well, unless they weren't planned, but
even if they,
you should you should take responsibility. Basically.
Right. That's what we're saying. Is just take responsibility. But, so it's not like I'm trying to make it sound like you're going into battle or anything.
Right.
It's that you're gonna have a lot of things like birthday parties, or doctor appointments is a big one. Stuff like that. On top of having to get everything else ready, like say you have a job, you have to plan something, it has to have time. You're in a club, you do jiu-jitsu, you do martial arts, whatever. You have to do all of that on top of raising a little human. All right, and it's like, so you're pretty much taking over this little human's life on the same time maintaining yours.
Yeah,
it can get mentally frustrating, but hang in there, because if you do everything right, it'll pay off.
Well, you hope.
You hope. You're right about that. You hope it pays off. But you know what? It should pay off if they grow up to be successful human beings who don't need anyone to lift them. They can do it all themselves, and it's definitely paid off. If you had raised them to be able to do bills, finances, find a good mate, whatever.
A good mate.
Even though sometimes that's actually out of your control, so I take that back.
Yeah.
They could be very good kids and find the wrong person.
Anything can happen. You just gotta do your best to steer them in the right direction.
Exactly, just like that. Right now, we're getting ready for a birthday party. My son Ace is turning 3, and so I'm doing jiu-jitsu on top of making these videos and this audio. Yeah. And then I have to go home. And the thing is, so here's another thing. It also depends on your partner, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a juggling act.
For me, he's 3. These last 2 birthdays have been overdone, which I'm great that we're able to overdo his birthday parties, decorate every single square inch of the house.
Oh boy.
And have all these friends come over and all these gifts and stuff. But I'm thinking he's 1, 2, and he's 3. He's starting to get to the age where he's going to remember, but we really don't have to go all out like that. Whereas Chelsea's like, take pictures, pictures is awesome. He'll look at the pictures and be like, oh, you guys really went all out.
I think they'll probably start really maybe being able to remember it, maybe 5. Maybe 4, maybe.
So Chelsea's one to overdo 5. It, whereas I am not. And that's another thing that gets in the way, is whenever you have a partner, which is awesome. This is not really a complaint. It's more of a just getting you guys used to the idea.
Right.
When you have a partner who wants to overdo everything for your child, that's splendid. That's all more, kudos to you. But whenever you're the person who's kind of the negative Nelly, it doesn't have to be that much, or this much, it's mentally frustrating a little bit, but you do it anyway because you know that there will be pictures and the wife is always right. Happy wife, happy life, right? Even though she's my girlfriend now, but we're eventually.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. But I'll tell you what, though, I would never take. Yeah, if I had the option to not have kids and have kids now, of course I would have my kids still.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I'm gonna stop having kids.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And here's a personal announcement to people. I can't say on this because I don't have kids, because I don't want kids, but please use protection. Please do not have an unplanned child. Like, it's the worst thing ever.
Just be smart about it.
Because, use protection, because when this happens a lot. People aren't planning on having a kid, and then because they're not, it just wrecks everything, and then that kid is going to end up having a crappy life and stuff because you just weren't going to be safe about it. And I think that's wrong. You really need to plan on having a child. You need to plan and be able to support that child. I know sex is great and all that, but just wear protection, be safe.
It's worked for Dylan.
But would you not agree, Jared?
Oh, I agree completely.
Because I don't think you guys planned on having a kid.
I agree completely.
Did you plan on having a kid?
Not really, and I have two. But I've taken responsibility.
That is the second thing. I mean, if you don't heed my warning, and you don't play it safe, if you do have a kid, take responsibility for it. Be there for the child because it's your responsibility. It's your fault they exist. So take care of them. But so Jared, so you have now you have a daughter and a son.
That's right.
What's it like between having a son versus a daughter so far?
So far, I know every child is different. You hear of these children who want nothing. They just like to be by themselves, hate being hugged or touched. Then you have the children who, love being hugged or patted on the head, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean this could be a gender thing, but maybe not. Maybe not.
For me, it's funny because, my daughter is just like the way you would think a girl is. Right. A little girl, she's all cuddly, cute, loves to give kisses, stuff like that. Whereas my son's more, wanting to be off by himself and do his own thing and whatnot. So Chelsea always gets on me. She's like, oh, which I have, and really shouldn't, in my opinion, shouldn't. But I don't have a favorite child, and I would hope no one out there is like, oh, I love this one more than that one.
Well,
You don't have kids. You have cats. Do you love your kids?
But I will say though, if me and Sarah, in another life, right, in another life, did have a kid, we both agreed that we wanted a girl.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
But we're not gonna have kids. But if we were, that would be what we would be hoping for.
But it's funny because Chelsea will always joke with me, "Oh, that's your favorite." Referring to Harmony.
Yeah,
that's your favorite child. And that's not the case at all. She just loves hugs and kisses. So she's always running up on me, wanting me to hold her and stuff like that, and I'll hold her and whatnot. And of course, Ace doesn't want to be held and whatnot. And she's like, how come you're always holding Harmony? I'm like, well, it's, Ace doesn't want to be held, and she does. I'm going to hold her.
She's also younger.
Yeah, she's one. She's a little older than one, but she's not two.
Right.
So she's in between.
You're one of those people. I'm 13 or I'm 12 and a half. Thank you very much.
She's 16 months. She's a little over one.
So important question. Have you been saving money for their college fund?
We have a savings account and we have money in it.
Oh, well, that's
what
good.
It's used for?
What?
No, well, what it's used for is in case we have any emergency, but if we don't have any emergency, whenever it comes time, that will be put towards it.
So are you going to try to push them in any direction, or are you going to let them kind of choose for their own what path they want to take?
When it comes to career path, I'll let them choose. But I do want to...
What if they want to be a YouTuber?
That's fine, I guess.
Well, because in this day and age, I know a lot of kids, their dream now is to be YouTubers and stuff. Would you support that?
I mean, as long as he's not, giving some bad message out there, you know what I mean? If he's not promoting something that's
say bad. He was a Let's Player. He played video games for people. And
if he's making a living off of it and he's enjoying it, go for it.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion.
That's good. So you're supportive.
But now this is kind of not career path wise, but one thing I would love to nudge them towards is martial arts in a way. So I want to try to get Ace into wrestling. Now I will put him in wrestling, and if he doesn't like it a year or two, a season or two later, he'll be. I will not.
Well, that's good because some parents force their children into doing sports, or how they force people to play piano. And it's just man, that ain't right. If the kid doesn't want to do it, then...
If he doesn't want to do it, he's not really going to be good at it.
No, and he's not going to show interest, and you're just going to fight with him and waste time.
He'll be good at it because he's been doing it every single day, but he wouldn't be the best he could be because he doesn't enjoy it.
He doesn't enjoy it. So if your kid doesn't enjoy it, don't make him do it. You can try. You can try to see if they like it, and that's fine. But if they don't push your agenda on them.
Right. So Ace, I want to put more towards wrestling. Harmony, if she wants to wrestle,
So cool. Are you guys gonna put them?
And then jujitsu.
Are you guys gonna put them through school, or are you gonna homeschool them?
Oh, we're gonna put them through school. Actually, fun fact: Ace is 3. He started kind of like a pre-K. Recently, so it's Tuesdays and Thursdays for 3 hours. We'll take him to school, And then, so he's getting, the purpose of that is to build his social skill.
Right.
To get him used to being around.
Well, because I'm leading to that, because I'm thinking, like, what if, like, he's, like, 17, and he's like, Dad, I want to quit school and you know, do this YouTube thing.
You see, with me, when it comes to college, I'm not necessarily pressing the issue, especially because I feel, in my opinion, not all colleges, but a lot of bigger colleges have went completely political. So, because of that, it's kind of lost my respect a little bit.
In my opinion, and maybe this is going to be an unpopular opinion on me, is I don't think it's worth it for most schools.
And I was going to get there at this point.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. At this point in time, currently, it's starting to become, in my opinion, not as useful as it was years ago.
Yes, because you get in so much debt. I know people that, you know, they go through these expensive colleges and they're stuck paying it off for the rest of their lives, and they're not even guaranteed a job.
Right. Now, when it comes to GED, yes, I will push that. I do want him to get kids to get a GED.
But I mean, like, if the kid were to be able to show you, I'm actually making a living off this, you know, showing that he's making money off of it and it's working out for him, like, well, you know, how would you feel about that?
He can make money off of that. That's fine. But I would still
have a backup plan.
Have a backup plan.
That's very important. Yes.
Just keep him in school. Now, after he graduates, if he's making money, you know, if he wants to do that, go for it. And then after that, I, you know, like a mother bird, push him out of the nest. Even though I wouldn't kick him out.
Right.
I would give them a time frame, but it wouldn't be like 2 months. It would be, I'd give them 2-3 years to get some things together, you know.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Okay, well.
That was a good one. That was a long one.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, other than that, just responsibility.
Right. Do you like having kids?
Oh, I love it.
Well, real quick, what are the good sides to having kids? Because everybody can see the bad sides. That's
of course.
That's very easy.
Financially, horribly bad.
But no one can really see the good sides. So what are some good sides to it, real quick?
So the good sides is the happiness and joy they bring you. They really do. So it's something until you have your own kid that you can't really understand. They're fun. They can be goofy. You know, they pick up your traits. So they grow up. Well, they grow up to have for the most part, I'm not going to say all of them, but to have very similar humor with you. So not only that, now, yes, you want to be their father first.
Right.
But you can also have a best friend. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
And just all that. Plus, when they're old enough, there's some chores you don't have to do, like dishes.
And if your kid ever needs it, just send him to Dylan's boot camp and I'll straighten him out.
That's right. Oh boy, I don't know if I'll put him through that.
Oh, it'll be great.
I don't know, Dylan. I don't know.
It'll be great. If he will never backtalk you again.
Yeah, I mean, they really do give you some, you know, whenever you're holding, you know, you're responsible for another human's life. It kind of also, and this is more for your own self, makes you just feel
good about it or something.
Good about it, and like you have power. I can tell this person no. I can tell him yes. He has to ask permission. No, but even that, you know, it's just, and plus, you know, you guys, you know, if all the cards are played right, you always have someone to comfort or be comforted by if you need it.
Maybe in a few years, depending on if we're still doing this
like, he's not 3 right now comforting me if I, you know.
Right.
So, but when he gets older.
Daddy!
He's like, pat me on the back. It's okay.
Does he call you Daddy?
Yes, he does.
Oh, well. I mean, yeah, I haven't actually met your kids yet, so I don't know. Might make that happen one of these days, but maybe in the future, if we're still doing this podcast, we'll get an update on this question on how you feel maybe like 5 years later. Like if you feel the same.
I just want them out of my house, Dylan.
Yeah, he's 10. He'll do good on his own. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, but other than that about sums it up.
All right. Well, that's been the blindsided question. Sorry if this episode is long. I feel
like this is probably the longest one we've done.
That's what I was thinking, and that's fine. Hopefully, I know you guys like blind questions and stuff sometimes, but as I stated in my intro and stuff, it's not all completely about blindness, so it's about multiple things. So hopefully some people can enjoy this still and it didn't drag on too long. But with that, this has been the BlindSighted Perspective Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. And like I said, by the time this comes out, we should have our YouTube channel up, the BlindSighted Perspective. And like I said, the podcast episodes will be on there, and we should have some, we're going to be putting up different kinds of fun videos, and you're going to get to see how ugly we are, which will be great. And so there'll be cool things like that. Remember, you can comment on there and ask for blind questions as well. Sorry that was such a long ending here, but again, thank you all for listening. I've been Dylan.
And I have been Jared.
See you guys in the next episode.